Assalamu alaikum, greetings and welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Um, for the sake of the replay, my name is Radia, and I am the founder of Taking Care of 5 Before 5. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barak. If you are not a member, I do invite you to become one. What I would like to do, as always, inshallah, is to ask a favor of you. If you could be so kind as to share this room, share this live. I'm also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, as well as StreamYard. So, if you all could do the following favor for me in sharing this to your social media, invite others who are here on the app of Clubhouse, that would be greatly appreciated, inshallah. And just as I'm asking that of you, inshallah, I would be doing the same, and inshallah, I'll be right back. Okay. Those of you that are here on these networks get to see the behind the scenes of this one woman show. um, how I have to share to all of my social media pages to try to get people into the room or aware of it or live, however you want to call it, depending, of course, on, I guess, whichever platform you're on. Okay. I won't have to do as many today. It won't take me as long because I decided to go live on so many streams. Alhamdulillah. So let's see. Just going to make sure I cover all of them. Think I have just one more um, of these anyway. Let's see here. Let me double check on this. Yeah, I did that one, I think. Yeah, okay. So just one more space. Bismillah. It always takes so long on Facebook. Okay, there we go. Now I can go back into Clubhouse. Yay, she's still here. Alhamdulillah. All right, assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining. You are more than welcome if you'd like to join me on stage. I'm hoping, I know people are just waking up. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining. You know the spiel. If you haven't already, please share this live, this room to your social media. I'm saying live because I'm also live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as StreamYard. Oh, okay. Inshallah, he'll come back. I hope that was an accident. Inshallah. But we'll go ahead and start. Um, I'll begin with dua, of course. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, assalatu rasulullah. One of the things that I like to do for those that are new to me, I wish I could be, I had enough devices. I had a crash with one of my other devices called the Lamashif ad. So I no longer have access to that particular one. But I would be live on TikTok as well, for something like this. But just for those who are unaware, most of the rooms that we have here on Clubhouse are we use prompts, since we can't use video. Whatever video that I may come across then becomes audio on, you know on Clubhouse, of course. But I do, provide the link, so that those that want to listen to it later or use it later can, however they see fit. But usually it's a clip, or it's a book, or a conversation, be it something that happened here inside of Clubhouse or outside of it. However, we've Allah inspires me to share. And so today, it is a clip, and I'm gonna have to do it the way I didn't want to do it, because um, my um, I would have to download. This is on this app. This particular clip that I want to share is on TikTok, from TikTok, and so I don't have TikTok on the device that I wanted to use for audio. Qadr Allah Meshavat. So I'm gonna have to play it. Um, I'll still be hearing the app, but I'll be playing it so that it's audible. I remember at one point in time we couldn't even do this, so I'm thankful that we can now. So let me play it, and hopefully you have something that you would like to share as it relates to your thoughts and possible concerns. Inshallah, I'm going to share it to one more person. I don't know if I already gave them a heads up that I will be doing the room, but I never heard back. So, and they probably aren't even bothering to do it, because they prefer not to be a part of when I do something audibly in terms of recording the room. So we'll see. I see someone has joined me on something, one of these 4 networks outside of Clubhouse. Alhamdulillah. Okay, so let me get my bearings here and get this ready. Okay, here we go. Bismillah.
So I've already been losing followers recently. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not here for the numbers. But after this one, I'll probably lose a few more. But I'm fucking heated. And this isn't like a call out or call in. This is just a fucking reality check for other white people. We do not get to label anybody in the black community anything based on what they choose to do with the vote. We have to realize that regardless of the outcome of this fucking election, there is going to be violence, potential violence, very real violence carried out against black men, women, and children, more than usual, because Trump wins, that brings about a violent America. We've already seen that. If he loses, then the meltdown from white people is going to be insane, because they will not accept that he has lost to a black woman, which means violence will also come out of that. And while y'all are out here moral grandstanding and fucking doing these purity tests, at the end of the day, this shit will not affect us. The outcome of the election will not it will not carry the weight of violence that it will carry out against black people. Come the fuck back down to reality right now. Stop policing what black people do with their vote. Period. Because at the end of the day, violence is going to come out, and it's not going to be violence towards us. And so, first of all, no, the majority of white people keep, whoever's talking about revolution, y'all don't know what the fuck it takes. You aren't ready. You can't even have a conversation with your other white family members about racism without melting down, without getting scared because you think you're going to overthrow the fucking government. Please be so fucking honest with yourself. There's so many white people right now that are so fucking delusional. Y'all want to run around and call black people this, or that. If they choose to vote for Kamala Harris, if they choose not to vote, if they choose to vote their party, whatever, that's not our fucking business. We are in this place. All this self-hatred is coming out so heavy right now from white people. Because the reality is, the reason there are genocides in all these different countries is because of white supremacy, which is an us problem. And so everybody that's angry right now should be angry at white people. Because we're here because of us. We have the very fact that we have Donald Trump as a choice for president is a result of white supremacy. So all this energy you have for everybody else, any other community, all this fucking anger you have, use it constructively to help deconstruct and decolonize your mind and to work towards destroying white supremacy. Do that. Leave black people the fuck alone. Let's focus on us, period.
All right. So there's the clip. Hearing it for, I think it's the probably second or third time that I've heard that. And I forgot. I apologize for the language of the, cursing. I thought it was, when he got started, I was like, oh, it's just a few times he's going to say something. Oh my God, almost in every sentence there was a word. I'm so sorry. And I think that was probably a turnoff for those that were on my other networks, hearing that much cursing. I apologize. I didn't want to download it and then bleep. That would have been too much work. I could have done it, bleep out each curse word each time. But I'll just apologize, and I pray Allah forgives me, for sharing, with that much cursing. But anyway, I see others have joined us. Assalamu alaikum and greetings and welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Ahlan. Feel free to join me on stage. I don't know how much of what was played that you all heard, but for whatever amount you did hear, I would love to hear your thoughts, about what was said. I didn't even think about this until I saw this video, actually. And he was right. We've seen what, having Donald Trump as president happened, as far as the attacks against, those of us who are Black. We've seen that. And, him saying that just, brought that back to my mind. And then, realizing his opponent, that if, she wins, we're still going to be potential victims of violence because of what he said, that this is something that white people will not accept. The people who support Trump will not accept a Black woman as a president, that she defeated a white man. And so their anger and frustration will come as in the form of attacks, verbal, possibly physical, against us. So my thing is, for us to be aware, for us to prepare, for this potential violence. And, for those of you who may have already thought about this, excuse me, I would love to know what, if anything, you have done or are doing to prepare yourself for the potential attacks that may come. I really wanted someone of knowledge, having more than myself, to come in and to speak, and, from Quran and Sunnah, about this. But maybe they'll come, I don't know. or maybe they won't. I don't know. Later, it's still fairly early, depending on what part of the country you're in. And so, I know for most people, this is a lazy day. I ain't got to go to work, so I'm going to sleep in, sleep late, this kind of thing. But this is very important. And I had scheduled the room originally for something else. And as soon as I came across this, I said, this is too important. We got to start talking about this now, start preparing now. All that other stuff can wait. I don't even, like I said, think this, you know, has come across our minds, especially those of us as Muslims. I will say that, hopefully we are exercising, the biggest possible tool that we have uh, in the line of defense for ourselves, and that is dua, the power of dua. Um, I have seen, not that Allahu Island, that this person, I don't know the person, so I don't know, if they would have attacked me. I know they verbally attacked me. I remember I was working um, at um, at the airport in the food court for Chick-fil-A. And Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining. Um, and and so the guy that come to find out, this guy was like a temp. He, if everything would have went well, they would have, hired him full time, giving him full time benefits. And apparently, he had worked with Chick-fil-A before. And so anybody who's had any kind of experience with Chick-fil-A, they give them, you know, some authority. Sometimes it also comes in the form of payment, meaning they'll get paid more and this kind of thing. And so, he hadn't, I didn't know any of this going in. And so, and we rotate doing different aspects of, preparing food, for the people. The one thing that I didn't, appreciate about where I was working was the fact that we didn't have to take orders in terms of like, accepting and giving change and, dealing with credit cards and this kind of thing. We just, the person said what they wanted. For the most part, we had what they wanted already made. We pre-made a lot of things, but for some, they would want maybe, tomatoes or, something, of a condiment or vegetable or fruit or something, and we would have to give it to them. But anyway, so I pretty much, and what it is, it's not people from the general public. These were employees of Delta Airlines. And so it's, if it's anybody different, it's because this is someone that could possibly be hired for working for Delta or working for one of the other restaurants within the food court. And so, I pretty much had known, the flow at that particular time of day. And, and so, this particular day I'm working fries, and I had gotten there's like, you can only put 3-4 rows of fries up on the whatever display or whatever. And so it was already full. And I had some fries already, ready to go. I just, I had this rhythm going, and I knew when to drop the other fries so that we would never run out, inshallah. So there was already one basket already ready to go if I needed it. And then here comes this guy, and he's, he's starting the other one, and I still had, at this point, no one had come through yet, and I said, I know what I'm doing. I said, I don't need that yet, because what all they're going to do is, you have so much time for the fries to be there before they'll throw them out. And I wasn't trying to do that. So, I told him, I was like, I got this, and so he took an attitude, and, how some of them are, they're so quick with their wit and coming for people, and things of this nature. So he started going off on me. And all I could think to do is, "أعوذ بكلمة الله التامة من شر ما خلق." And I just kept saying that over and over. The louder he was getting, the louder I was getting. And of course, he didn't know what I was saying. No one knew what I was saying. So, he didn't have a comeback. He just kept. I didn't even know what he was saying. If he was cursing me out, or what he was saying, because I was just in my zone of, "Oh, the بكلمة الله التامة من شر ما خلق," and everybody could, and they were shocked that I was getting loud, because I don't go there. It takes a lot for me to go there, getting loud and ghetto and obnoxious and this thing. So everybody was like, "Oh my God, what is she gonna do? What is she saying?" you know, and but I calmed down, and apparently he did too, because he couldn't tell what I was saying. I could have been calling my forces like, who? You never know, right? So, but because there were Muslims there, they weren't as obvious in their Islam as me. There would be a few sisters there. You could recognize them to be Muslim. You would see a headscarf, a kimar, or hijab, or what have you. But for the most part, I could tell a lot of them, they wouldn't even give me salams. I mean, you know your people, and so and especially like if they have their name tag on, they're Muslim, and yet they don't give you salams, because they just want to blend in, those kind. But anyway, yeah. So, are we prepared, verbally, physically, for any potential attacks? These are things that we have to think about and prepare for. And one of the things, long before I came across this particular clip, from time to time, ever since I became, quote unquote, friends with someone in the same industry of health and wellness as myself. And so she had a girlfriend who, they were, from the same town and everything. And I just so happened one day to see her at a shooting range. And I was like, "Oh, I want to go." And what it was she took a course for concealed and carry. And so I was like, "Oh, I want to do that." And so she was like, "Okay." And so she just gave me, her friend's name and number. I'm not knowing that that's their friends. I just thought she was taking the course, so I contacted her, and then she was the one who let me know. She's like, "Yeah, that's my girl." Da, da, da. It's like, "Oh, okay." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm in Atlanta a lot, so I'm in Detroit, but I'm in Atlanta a lot, and I would be willing to, do some classes for your community." Um, you know, and so we talked about all the details or what have you. And so periodically, I did a class. We did a class with her. There was enough of us. I think I forget how many of us there were, but she wanted a guaranteed number, because she would be traveling specifically for the class. It wasn't like she was already going to be coming in terms of the particular date that we chose. And so, alhamdulillah, she got her numbers, and so we did the class. And me, I'm putting it all over. I'm in these different WhatsApp groups. I'm in the groups on Facebook, and wherever else I can post, and I'm telling others to repost it as well. And so there would be another class that did theirs, and then one family, they were like, "Well, can we do this privately?" I said, "Well, you'd have to ask her, and it would be upon you to pay for all of whatever." So they're like, "Okay." And so come to find out, they did do it. It was a whole family. It was like 5 or 10 of them or something like that, and they did it as a family. And since then, every so often, sisters will ask me, "When are you all going to do another course?" And so I'm like, "I don't know," and I've come to find out a sister I knew, she became an instructor as well. And so, my thing is, anytime I find a Muslim doing something that a non-Muslim is doing, I'm gonna jump to the Muslim. So I kept badgering her and badgering her. I was like, I've got sisters asking about this class, and she's on a whole nother side of Georgia than myself. And I guess, it just wasn't as important to her to do it. So we never got around to it. I said, so you know what? She's not that interested. I mean, I've seen her. She goes to the range. I don't know what, if they're just, they already know how to shoot and they just go there to shoot or whatever. But I approached her again, because, I know she goes back and forth from Georgia to wherever it was she was living before or lives, or I don't know. We don't talk like that. So I don't really know, what's going on with her. And, but I did reach out one other time. She never responded. I said, you know what, forget that. I'm going back to who I was dealing with. And I did. And I don't think I put it in the foyer or hallway, whatever, billboard, whatever that's called. But I'll put it there for those that are in Georgia, wanting to come to Georgia, willing to come to Georgia to take the class. It would be this weekend, actually, the 31st, whatever day that is. Let's see, what day is it? Saturday. It'll be on Saturday, inshallah. So you would need to register, contact her directly. But like I said, I'll put that inside of once I'm off of the app, I'll put it, so you all can see it. I thought I did it, but I don't think I did. Anyway, so inshallah, there will be a number of sisters that will contact her and they'll do their class also, inshallah. So my question is, what are you all doing for any potential threats that could possibly come as a result of the elections? And alhamdulillah, some of you all just came in from the time that I originally played this clip. I will, give the disclaimer, there is a lot of cursing, so brace your ears, and I apologize. So I'll play it again just so that I can hear from you all and get your thoughts, inshallah. Hopefully some of you all will join me on stage. Let's see, can I do it this way? Yes, good. Let's start it again. Bismillah. Oops.
So I've already been losing followers recently. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not here for the numbers. But after this one, I'll probably lose a few more. I'm fucking heated. And this isn't like a call out or call in. This is just a fucking reality check for other white people. We do not get to label anybody in the black community anything based on what they choose to do with the vote. We have to realize that regardless of the outcome of this fucking election, there is going to be violence, potential violence, very real violence carried out against black men, women, and children, more than usual. Because if Trump wins, that brings about a violent America. We've already seen that. If he loses, then the meltdown from white people is going to be insane, because they will not accept that he is lost to a black woman, which means violence will also come out of that. And while y'all are out here moral grandstanding and fucking doing these purity tests, at the end of the day, this shit will not affect us. The outcome of the election will not it will not carry the weight of violence that it will carry out against black people. Come the fuck back down to reality right now. Stop policing what black people do with their vote. Period. Because at the end of the day, violence is going to come out, and it's not going to be violence towards us. And so, first of all, no, the majority of white people keep, whoever's talking about revolution, y'all don't know what the fuck it takes. You aren't ready. You can't even have a conversation with your other white family members about racism without melting down, without getting scared, but you think you're going to overthrow the fucking government. Please be so fucking honest with yourself. There's so many white people right now that are so fucking delusional. Y'all want to run around and call black people this, or that. If they choose to vote for Kamala Harris, if they choose not to vote, if they choose to vote their party, whatever, that's not our fucking business. We are in this place. All this self-hatred is coming out so heavy right now from white people. Because the reality is, the reason there are genocides in all these different countries is because of white supremacy, which is an us problem. And so everybody that's angry right now should be angry at white people. Because we're here because of us. We have the very fact that we have Donald Trump as a choice for president is a result of white supremacy. So all this energy you have for everybody else, any other community, all this fucking anger you have, use it constructively to help deconstruct and decolonize your mind and to work towards destroying white supremacy. Do that. Leave black people the fuck alone. Let's focus on us, period.
All righty. What are your all's thoughts? Feel free to join me on stage. Just raise your hand and I'll bring you up. I did see some commentary. Let me see. I don't think America is ready for a woman to lead them. Mostly Trump will win. I don't believe in voting system. Both individually are just puppets for the system. It's people in middle office that have the power to change this. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Wa alaikum salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yes. So I recently had a conversation with my Christian father. And I I was oblivious to this. He was, I called him. We never just set up times of when we can call each other, and so we never know when it's a good time. So anybody, any matter who it is, I'm always going to ask, excuse me, is this a good time? If I hadn't already, said that, I would call you, or around what time I'd call, this kind of thing. And he said, oh, it's good, you're good. And so I was like, anything new? And he's like, the convention. So I'm thinking, he's talking about something about a Southern Baptist convention or something. I was clueless. And so we started talking about politics, and which I don't like to, but I did anyway. So, I could tell a sense of pride somewhat in him about Kamala because she's Black, that, there's a possibility of another Black president. And I said, I'm not too sure about that. He's like, what do you mean? And I said, only in America. Only certain people would get that. But anyway, I said, so only in America would someone like Trump face the felonies that he has against him and not have to go to prison or jail for it. I said, so I'm thinking that they're going to make him president again. And he was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. And then he was like, but those of us who have faith, I was like, okay, Daddy. All right. And I left it alone. And he did too. So I agree with you, sis. I've always said that, presidents are puppets, no matter where they are. And the ones that think that they're not, we've seen what happens to them. We've seen what happens to them. The ones that really want change, and and they're coming to an awareness of just what they stepped into, And for me, and only allow, if ever I get the opportunity to see or speak with Obama myself, um, will I know, what my thought process is in that, if it's true. Having somewhat knowledge of Obama before, long before this, you know, uh, him trying to become president, when he was senator, or trying to become senator, I remember hearing him, and I was thinking, I was like, I said to myself, he said, that's who needs to be the next president, you know, and and I sincerely thought, for the few talks that I ever heard from him, that he was sincere in wanting a change for America, especially for the blacks in America and things of this nature. And that when he finally, you know, became elected, I honestly, I was emotional. I guess I was like, some of these, hopefuls of Black Americans, especially those that, may have been through the civil rights and, and all of these movements and things of this nature. And I remember having a conversation with a Christian woman that I was giving dower to for years. Um, and, um, she was like, she was taken aback by, my saying that. And I said, I think the reason for that was for me. I said, you all have had your time. You had a moment in time in history, that, you could truly say you were a part of. I said, this for me is that, him being, it wasn't that, I thought he was going to really change things for Black people, none of that. I already knew, like I said, presidents are puppets and they get rid of the ones who aren't. But, just the mere fact that he's Black. And I remember what I said, that, that needs to be the next, or he should be the next president, just listening to him talk, and then, Allah manifesting it. And so I got emotional. I was like, we have something, I'm a part of some kind of history. I've got something that I'll be able to talk about to my offspring, down the road. And of course they were a part of it too, but I don't think they were as, possibly impacted the way that, some of us might have been. But that was my own, little moment that I had. Um, and so where else I want to go with this is to say that I Allahu Alam, I truly think that he thought he could be in a position by being president to make a change for the better for the Black people in particular. And he got hit with a dose of reality once he stepped into that Oval Office. How do we know this? Look at what he looked like prior to going into the office. He still had his Black hair, okay? Didn't have one wrinkle. But you look at how soon he had a head full of gray hair, not a Black hair in sight. That was within months. That's due to stress. So, I think he realized, I'm not going to be able to, I'm no different than any other president. They put who they want in office, and and this has always been my thing. Whether you have something to say about it or not, they're going to put who they want in office. And I think when 45 was in office, when he was in office, they didn't realize that, they had a loose cannon on their hands. And I say that because he made many mistakes, and a lot of people made memes of it. Some people, I tell people all the time, I'm an observer. There's not too much I'm gonna miss. If I'm able to pay full attention, I've gotten my rest. I'm not dehydrated. None of that. I there's things that I'm gonna hear that very few other people will hear. And so I kept this clip for the longest when it came to, when the COVID came about. and they were saying how the Secret Service was whispering to him, not realizing the cameras were on or the mic was on, that it was a test. It was a test. He said, he said that to him twice, just as Trump responded, "You should have told somebody. You should have told somebody." So, um, you know, eh, they realize, they can't. He's somebody they can't control what they say. Um, he's nonetheless he's still a puppet, regardless. But he he lets out things that perhaps he's not supposed to. But and so I actually, found it very funny, amusing, when he was in office. And then but I did feel bad, hearing the different incidents of, people experiencing attacks, black people experiencing attacks as a result of, these white supremacists. And so here we are, faced again with this. What are we doing to prepare? Those of us, for the Muslim hat that we wear, if you will, or mask, if you will, we're always under attack. People still have bought into believing that we're responsible for 9/11. And then, if we're black, visibly black, not one of those, where people will look at you and not know for sure whether you're black or not. But those of us that are obviously black, you know, um, the attacks that could possibly come as a result of just being black. For the things that this guy was mentioning in the clip. So I would love to hear from you all. Any other thoughts that you may have, inshallah. Khalud, I would love for you to come up and give your thoughts, inshallah. I know you're probably walking the dog or driving, but if you could come up and share your thoughts, I would love to hear from you, inshallah. Ooh, excuse me. You know the deal. Just raise your hand and I'll bring you up, inshallah. Um, but yeah, I really wanted this to be a big discussion, both for us as Muslims and any non-Muslims that might want to be here to hear the or be a part of the conversation, to hear what, if anything, they're doing to prepare for potential attacks. I just thought this was too important for us not to talk about this now, seeing as though we're only a few months away from the actual election. So, yeah. So, any other thoughts? Feel free to raise your hand, and I will bring you up if you'd like to come on stage. Excuse me. Just FYI, excuse me. For those of you that didn't know that are here on Clubhouse, I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as StreamYard. I was hoping to be able to get some, reactions from some of the people that may be watching on either of those streams, but you know, um, they're not interested. I've seen several people come and go, listening to me, listening to the clip. I think they were, really, they didn't appreciate the clip, especially all of the cursing. So again, I apologize. I just use it to get reactions, to get people thinking, you preparing, whatever the case may be. Just for those that may listen to the replay of this, we don't necessarily believe any portion of what is shared when I play these clips. I'm just using it to spark the conversation only. For that's the disclaimer. It's for um, conversation only, not for anyone to believe anything that is said or whatnot. Just like just FYI, since I'm only one up here, and this is also something that is fresh and recent. I had just shared because I challenged some Muslims in this group, WhatsApp group that I'm in. I've been telling people for years, get off WhatsApp, and I hate WhatsApp, and I'm always complaining about WhatsApp. And, to switch to Telegram. And lo and behold, many of us, we almost were swindled out of hundreds, if not thousands of dollars because one of the people, one of the admins, unfortunately, was hacked. The phone was hacked, and so someone posing as a Muslim asking for a favor, some money until the, for like basically for 24 hours, saying that they were trying to send somebody some money and couldn't do it, and you know, uh, found a reason that was, valid enough that several people were going to send money, and some were going to send more than what the ask was. And alhamdulillah, you know, I didn't have it anyway. When I don't have something, I'm immediately going to either make dua or I'm going to share it to those that I know that have money. And so it just so happened we have two groups that were the main one for the masjid, and then the separate one for sisters. And so Allah had me to go to the main masjid page, and I saw all the dialogue of what was going on, and I'm like, oh my goodness, subhanallah. Now, mind you, before I saw all that, I did see from the sisters whose phone was hacked that she sent me a message, but I thought she was responding to something I sent her prior. So I said, well, I'll look at it, later. And so, the masjid web page came up before hers. And so I looked at that, and alhamdulillah, I was like, oh, billah, astaghfirullah. And so then I go to the one that was addressed to me personally, I have no other reason to think it was no one other than her, but I'm reading it because it started out the same way in which they said they contacted each of them individually asking for a favor. How are you doing? Assalamu alaikum, how are you doing? I need a quick favor. And so my response was, wa alaikum salam. And I already know you're a scam artist and you've been reported. And in the conversation, that was that. So why am I sharing that with you all? Because I'm sure many of you all use WhatsApp. And I've been trying to encourage Muslims to get off of that app because it has someone I know very well. Now, mind you, I did see the post. They made a Facebook post letting people know that their phone was hacked. And, and this person had nerve. So that I'm not thinking anything of it because I don't recall if when the phone rang, it came up through WhatsApp or if it came up through the regular phone. And so I answered it, and and I'm thinking it's him, and then I realized it's not. And he said we're getting ready to do a Zoom, and I need to send you the code. And I said, okay. And then he said, I need you to tell me, read it back to me once you get the code. I'm like, okay. And so he's like, did you see the code? And I was like, yes, I did. He said, can you read the numbers back to me? And so I started reading them. And as I was getting closer and closer, Allah inspired me, hang up, or you don't finish, or don't say it again, because he couldn't make out what I was saying. And he said, can you repeat that? And I was like, no, click, alhamdulillah. But, I went back and let the brother know. I was like, yeah, they called me, because, he went down the line. He went down the line of all of his contacts. And, so I'm telling Muslims, get off of WhatsApp, please. You risk not only yourself getting scammed, but because you have contacts in your phone, you risk everyone else getting scammed as well. Because who these scammers are, they're going to pose as you, and that's how they know that they have a way in, because they know that person, so they're going to pay attention to that message and respond. And so anyway, so I told people, I said, I've been warning people for years to stop using WhatsApp and no one will listen. I said, Telegram is much better than WhatsApp. So I just left it. And no, I didn't. I said, I challenge each of you to do your own due diligence and research it for yourself. You don't believe anything I'm telling you, do your own due diligence, excuse me, and research it for yourself. Excuse me. And I left it. So then I noticed later on in the day, there was some additional dialogue, to my having said that. And one brother, he asked, he's like, well, how is it that Telegram is any better than WhatsApp? And, I was prepared to answer, but alhamdulillah, someone took it upon themselves to do their own due diligence and shared back their findings. And so for those of you that are following me on Facebook and LinkedIn, you'll see it there. I reposted what she said. And so, um, you know, a lot of people are concerned because Telegram is owned by Russians. And I'm like, I I've been using Telegram for years. Not as many as WhatsApp, obviously, but I've never heard anyone tell me or never read anybody say that they've been scammed. You know, I mean, the scamming or attempts to scam happen so frequent inside of WhatsApp. You know, I mean, it's just, if it wasn't for me trying to do what I do of sharing what I share on each of these groups, I would do away with it altogether. Um, I would have nothing to do with it, but they still insist on using WhatsApp. And I'm like, they're just going to have to learn the hard way. But so I'm hoping, from that some people will take heed to what I said and, make that switch, to protect themselves and to protect others as well. One of my dear sisters, she elderly sister, she's like, that was, like I said, she was concerned that, is it really safe? These are Russians. And I said, nothing is 100% safe when you don't own it. We don't own any of these apps. That's the problem. We don't own any of these apps. And so we're sharing all of this stuff, you know. Okay. Uh, you wanted to come on stage. Yes. You can unmute. You're muted. Mr. Talal, you're muted. I can't hear you. None of us can hear you. You're muted. Just tap the mic icon and it will unmute you. I can't. They still haven't given us the ability to unmute or mute. Okay, well, you need to come off the stage. Don't ask to come on stage when you don't even know what I'm talking about. Please. People only come to the stage when they have something, to say about what they heard me say or the clip or something like this. Alhamdulillah, others have come to the room. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's see what you're saying, Jackie. Oh, wait, was there something else? Okay, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Excuse me. Telegram is discreet too. I stopped using WhatsApp because you have to give out your real number and you can't hide your number. So once I started using Telegram, I stopped using WhatsApp. I only use WhatsApp for certain friends. Alhamdulillah. Good. Yeah. So I just thought I'd take the time, while you all were here and no one has commented about what I have shared, that I would share that with you all for those of you that did not know, and so that you could properly take precautionary measures for your own self, and or encourage others, to discontinue their use or limit their use as it relates to WhatsApp, inshallah. But I will replay the clip as I always do when more people come into the room. And I would love to hear from you all. Any thoughts that you have. I will caution you that there is a lot of cussing. I apologize. This is a non-Muslim, unfortunately, but it raised some concern for myself, seeing as though I'm unmarried and a full niqabi. And when I have transportation, I am literally out into the world every day. So Let me play the clip. Oh, let me see what she's saying. Important to protect. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let me play that. And anybody that wants to come to the stage, you are more than welcome. Let me play it. Bismillah.
So I've already been losing followers recently. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not here for the numbers. But after this one, I'll probably lose a few more. But I'm fucking heated. And this isn't like a call out or call in. This is just a fucking reality check for other white people. We do not get to label anybody in the black community anything based on what they choose to do with the vote. We have to realize that regardless of the outcome of this fucking election, there is going to be violence, potential violence, very real violence carried out against black men, women, and children, more than usual. Because if Trump wins, that brings about a violent America. We've already seen that. If he loses, then the meltdown from white people is going to be insane because they will not accept that he is lost to a black woman, which means violence will also come out of that. And while y'all are out here moral grandstanding and fucking doing these purity tests, at the end of the day, this shit will not affect us. The outcome of the election will not it will not carry the weight of violence that it will carry out against black people. Come the fuck back down to reality right now. Stop policing what black people do with their vote. Period. Because at the end of the day, violence is going to come out, and it's not going to be violence towards us. And so, first of all, no, the majority of white people keep, whoever's talking about revolution, y'all don't know what the fuck it takes. You aren't ready. You can't even have a conversation with your other white family members about racism without melting down, without getting scared, but you think you're going to overthrow the fucking government. Please be so fucking honest with yourself. There's so many white people right now that are so fucking delusional. Y'all want to run around and call black people this, or that. If they choose to vote for Kamala Harris, if they choose not to vote, if they choose to vote third party, whatever, that's not our fucking business. We are in this place. All this self-hatred is coming out so heavy right now from white people. Because the reality is, the reason there are genocides in all these different countries is because of white supremacy, which is an us problem. And so everybody that's angry right now should be angry at white people. Because we're here because of us. We have the very fact that we have Donald Trump as a choice for president is a result of white supremacy. So all this energy you have for everybody else, any other community, all this fucking anger you have, use it constructively to help deconstruct and decolonize your mind and to work towards destroying white supremacy. Do that. Leave black people the fuck alone. Let's focus on us, period.
All right. So I would love to hear from anyone that would love to come to the stage. Just raise your hand and I will bring you up. Otherwise, of course, you all can continue the conversation in the group chat. Once again, I do apologize for the language. But like I said, in my opinion, I thought this was very important for those of us that are Black to think about and prepare for. So, I would love to know what what your all's thoughts are. As I said earlier, before many of you all were here, I feel that we have the best weapon. And what is that? The best weapon that we have is dua. So we need to arm ourselves with the words of Allah, with the words of the Anbiya, radiallahu ajma'in. What did they say when they knew that they were going to be attacked or that there was going to be a war. We need to, really get into our Qurans and the Hadith and look for these particular ayat and stories, Hadith, to equip ourselves and our family members, with how to counteract being attacked. What can we do? And before they come, what can we do? What should we be doing? What should be our focus? So, um, I was hoping that there would be someone, well versed in Quran and Hadith that would be able to share some of that information for us. So, unfortunately, there isn't. Qadar Allah ma shafa'a. So, we're going to have to take it upon ourselves to do that, for ourselves and or for our family members as well. Or, for those of you who have small children or just children at all, have this discussion with them. Please, have this discussion with them and, um, encourage them to get into their Quran, into their Hadith, to find out what it is that the prophets, alayhi salam ajma'in, had done to prepare for potential attacks, and that, this is no different, you know, in their time it was because of La ilaha illallah. For this time it's because of the color of our skin, unfortunately. Qadar Allah ma shafa'a, especially those of us that are here in America. I doubt very seriously that anybody anywhere else will have a concern in this regard. This is truly an American situation here, unless you're American and you're, in other places. You're still, maintaining your citizenship, your residency in the US. But, the impact won't be like, it would be you're being right here in America for sure. Um, for the time, for those of you that don't know, Allah bless my family and I, we've lived in a total of four countries, alhamdulillah, Allahumma barak, and three of the four were predominantly Muslim countries. And so whenever there were things going on here in America, it didn't phase us there. With the exception, I personally had my own situation that I had to deal with, where, and I thought I was cool with this particular brother. He's a Arab brother, um, you know, and I went to him because of all of the Arabs that worked at the school that my children were at. He was the only one that spoke the best English. He was fluent, and because I knew with Arabic, I there was there was absolutely nothing I could say because I didn't know how to speak. And this had involved um, some children attacking my son. Some of you have heard me share this story before, and so this was the same year that Obama had just become president, and he said, he didn't he didn't say if you didn't like it. He said, well, you can always go back home. Obama's your president. I was so mad. Oh, I was enraged. But what could I do? What could I do? I was sitting there defenseless. Not even my then husband bothered to. I went home and told him what happened. He didn't do anything about it. Not that he could, or, yeah, but to send me as a woman, to try to protect my son, to me, that was asinine. But, I did it. Nothing happened. Um, no apologies, no children being expelled or detention or no, nothing, nothing. La mushkila. No problem. It's not a big deal. That's how they see it. So, yeah. Um, the stuff that we have to go through, subhanAllah. Hope you all aren't hearing my stomach growling. You can always go back to your country because Obama's your president is insane. Yep. Yep. Like Obama could do anything, and, Allah bless that man with eloquent speech. Allahumma barik. But, and I have to remind, those not who are just Black, but Black and Muslim, he's the only president that killed as many Muslims as he killed. He did what he was supposed to, whether he wanted to do it or not. It was going to get done, just like now with Palestine. Not that not I'm like this guy on TikTok, Jiggy Joe. Not that he cares, you know. Obviously, there's many clips, and it's a wonder that they haven't taken them all down where he said he's a Zionist. So what do you expect? So, anyone else willing to come to the stage, feel free to raise your hand and I will bring you up. Otherwise, of course, again, you are more than welcome to use the group chat. I don't see any commentary on any of the other apps that I'm on either. So, and while I'm here, just waiting to see if anybody else has anything they want to share. I've got a number of things already lined up as far as future conversations to take place here inside of Clubhouse, inshallah, bismillah. So feel free to look at the calendar and RSVP, inshallah. And if there are other conversations you feel that we need to have, please let me know so that we can put that in rotation, inshallah, add that to the calendar. If there are conversationalists that you feel that we need to have here, please let me know. And also, please don't forget about our house of Muslim storytellers. We haven't been in there in a while. There's somebody I recently came across that I'm hoping will share their story of how Allah guided them to Islam. There was somebody that I approached to ask that had made Umrah if they would come and share their Umrah story also. And then we have another person who recently wrote a book. I want them to talk about, their experience in having written their first book. So, inshallah, I'm ready whenever they're ready. I'm always ready, inshallah. But it's them. It's truly them, not me. So I'm trying to line up those rooms. If you all have a story that you all would like to share, feel free to let me know and let's put it in rotation. I don't want that room to be dormant. Inshallah, that space, Allah blessed us with that space. And I would like to use it, inshallah. So I take it no one else has anything else to share. So I'll go ahead and close unless anyone has any questions, suggestions, or anything like that. But I just thought I guess no one thought this was as important as I did. Or they're too afraid to speak because maybe I've got the replays on. Excuse me, I don't know. Or this, what's the big deal? We've been through this once. We'll get through this. I don't know. I don't know what anybody's thinking. So, anywho, I do thank you all so much for joining. And I'll go ahead and close. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Ameen. And as I always say, be resilient, inshallah, and have a good rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, or morning, wherever you are in the world. And inshallah, we'll see one another again in these Clubhouse streets, social media streets. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And FYI, before I go, while I remember, I am now a TikTok affiliate. I do, alhamdulillah, Allahumma barak, I do have a showcase. That's what they call our stores. So feel free to support me there. I have many accounts on TikTok, but the one that is now with the shop is, our showcase is Pad Specialist. That's where I'll be, selling all of my merchandise. There's already, I've done 2 product
reviews, but they were for my Amazon store. That was before I became an affiliate with TikTok. So one of those two is available on TikTok. So I'll be doing a review soon. I'm awaiting them to send me a sample of their product. And if you all have any suggestions for any products you feel that I should do a sample for, please let me know so that I can request it if at all possible and possibly do a review for it as well. So I'm open. I'm limited because, you're not gonna see, my arm, my leg. You're not gonna see me in some gym clothes, street clothes, that kind of thing. That I'm a little restricted, but nonetheless, I've never let any of that stop me with, my creativity. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. So, but anything that you all feel you know, um, would be good for me, to do a review on, to try, to sell, to try to earn some commissions from, please be sure to let me know. Follow me on TikTok, and support me there if you don't mind, as well as Instagram. Instagram is like crickets. It's like, oh my God, it's like pulling teeth now. So I'm gonna have to figure out a different strategy for Instagram. I'm rocking over in TikTok. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. So yeah, just wanted to share that as with you all as well. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.